In this twist tutorial, you'll learn how to fold what I call the P1 hybrid hexagon twist. So the P stands for pentagon, and this twist is mostly the same as an open hexagon twist, and that's how we're going to approach it today. And the tutorial is part of a series of 30 tutorials that I'm making called Summer of Twists. And if you would like to learn the open hexagon first before jumping into this P1 hybrid, that is in the Summer of Twists playlist, and you can also get email reminders with what grid to use and what the links to the tutorials are for each of the twists in the series at training.gatheringfolds.com/summer. So this hybrid hexagon twist has 5 pleats going into it like an open hexagon, these 5, and 1 pleat going into it like a closed hexagon. That mountain's going straight for the center of the paper. So we're going to go ahead and set it up directly on the grid. I'm using an 8-fold triangle grid on a square, and if you're unfamiliar with this grid, you can learn how to fold it in the Summer of Twists welcome video. And I'm going to start by marking the center. And then, unlike the other hybrid hexagon twist tutorials so far, I'm going to directly start folding the twist. So my first fold, I'm going to take this grid line going up and to the left, passing 1 spacing outside of my center point, and folding over onto the valley. Now I'm going to rotate so I can work clockwise around. So I'm rotating counterclockwise, working clockwise to the next grid direction. And I'm going to add an identical pleat. So the mountain is 1 spacing above the center point. As that mountain is pointing out towards the right, the valley is 1 spacing above that. And rotating, I'll add a 3rd and a 4th and a 5th. And now that 6th pleat, if we were making the open hexagon, would go right here. But instead, I'm going to shift this mountain down 1 grid spacing. So now the mountain is on the grid line heading straight into the center, and the valley is 1 spacing above the mountain. This effectively tucks 1 point of our puffy hexagon star underneath. Now that we have this twist set up, I'm going to start squashing like I would an open hexagon, so pressing from the top. And this open area, I'm going to use either my finger or a bone folder to smooth out, making sure there's no wrinkles under there, and get a nice smooth twist. So you can see here the difference between this P1 hybrid hexagon and the open hexagon is that this pleat shifted from here in the open hexagon to here in the hybrid hexagon. And those 2 edges changed from mountains to valleys. So that's what's going on with folding this twist. Let's take a quick look at the crease pattern. So we've got mostly the open hexagon folds in here, but then instead of these remaining 2 sides being mountain folds, there's a mountain that cuts them off, and they on a grid line, and those new folds are instead valleys. Now I'll go ahead and draw on the folds for my pleats in here. And there's one more. One additional feature of the hybrid hexagon, which is these mountain folds on this little notch leading to the pleat that was shifted. So all of my other pleats have mountain folds that come directly to the corners, but that one pleat was shifted, and so the mountain doesn't come to a corner that looks like an open hexagon, it comes to a corner that looks like a closed hexagon. So that's my crease pattern for this side of the paper. This twist can also be used or can also be seen from the other side of the paper. And actually, before I draw the crease pattern over there, I'm going to show you what the back side even looks like. In this twist, we have a mostly open hexagon hole with this notch tucked in to the middle of it. So that's what's going on the back when it's folded. But when you look at these twists in crease patterns, you usually see them in the unfolded state. So the crease pattern here, we're going to have that long edge of our pentagon, with the rest being a standard open hexagon outline. And then we have our pleats leading into it. And on this side, this little notch is valley folds because all of our mountains have turned to valleys, and our valleys have turned to mountains. These two remaining edges of our open hexagon outline are mountain folds. And we get mountain folds all the way out to the edge on our remaining pleats. And there's the mountain fold that doesn't go to a corner of the twist, but instead tucks into that little pocket. So that's the crease pattern from either side of this P1 hybrid hexagon twist. And it's important to be able to see the crease patterns because that's how we origami tessellation designers usually transmit our patterns. And so, for example, in the Summer of Twist ebook that I've put together with 2 crease patterns using each of the 30 twists, so 2 patterns for each twist for 30 twists of the Summer of Twist series, it's important to be able to recognize that twist because one of the patterns is going to be that longer tutorial that uses the twist in a repeating pattern. And the other one is going to be a challenge pattern that there isn't a tutorial for, and you can try and figure out how to fold that by looking at the crease pattern. And when you're looking at the crease pattern for this twist, the important thing is where is the center of the twist and which of the 6 pleats is acting closed relative to the center. So that's all for today's tutorial. Make sure to check out that longer tutorial video, and you can also learn more about this twist and see more patterns for it in Tessellation Garden and Advanced Twist Techniques, 2 of my paid resources for learning tessellations. So happy folding, everyone, and I'll see you in the next video.